Hey guys, so this is actually episode one for Don't Swallow the S Pill. I'll go ahead and I'll explain what that means later. So, this is actually take two, the first time the freaking camera turned off about halfway through it, and I didn't even notice. So, I just had audio and I didn't have no footage. So, I was like, I gotta do this again. So, let me start off by saying I'm not supposed to be here. Let me tell you why. So in November 6th, 1997, my mom was actually having me, and my dad was in the conceiving room, and the doctor, he dropped me. He freaking dropped me. But I didn't hit the floor. My dad actually caught me. So I'll just leave it at that. So fast forward 19 years. I'm 19. It's October 2017, a month before my birthday. And it's October 18th. It's in the middle of the night. It's around 1 a.m. And I start getting these really bad intrusive thoughts. These really bad intrusive thoughts. And I've had intrusive thoughts since I was 15. So I knew what I was going through. But these were really bad. And they were times 10. They were coming and coming and coming and coming. So I'm just laying in bed and having this intrusive thought. So I go take a walk. So I'm walking back and forth, pacing back and forth my house, and I'm just pacing back and forth, and it's 30 minutes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm gonna try to go back to sleep, but I'm like, I try, and I can't. 20 minutes pass by, and I can't go to sleep. I cannot go to sleep, and I go to my sister's room, and I tell her, Yvonne, please hold me right now. I do not want to do anything dumb. I'm having these intrusive thoughts. Please hold me. Please hold me. Uh, I get this tingly feeling all over I got this tingly feeling all over my arms, and I'm just like, Yvonne, I don't want to do anything. Please hold me. And she hugged me. She hugged me tight, and she was talking to me, and we just came to the decision. I gotta go to the ER. I don't know what else to do. I was desperate. So we go to the ER, and it's funny because of this experience. Me and my sister actually got closer. Beforehand, we were pretty close, but we weren't as close as we are now. But let me explain how I went in my hospital visit. So I went to the ER, and it was pretty good first visit. They give me a green suit, and I'm like, okay, green suit, cool. I'm pretty sure everybody else wears it. And I saw another girl with a green suit, and she was just walking, and she had a security guard following her, and there was a security guard following me too when they booked me inside to get a room. And I was there. I could be alone in the room. I didn't have to be with anybody else. And my first experience, I had to wait maybe about, I would have to say, it was about maybe like 3 hours for me to see a therapist. And he decided, you know what, Marco, this is you seem all right. These intrusive thoughts, just you know what to do. You've got it. You know how to cope with them. They're not you. And he let me go. He told me, Marco, you don't have to be 5150. You could just go ahead and you could go home. Just don't go to work. But what did I end up doing? I ended up going to work, and it's crazy. My first experience, it wasn't too bad. After this experience of these intrusive thoughts, I it was I couldn't I couldn't stop them. Before these intrusive thoughts, I didn't have anxiety or intrusive thoughts for about, you know, give or take maybe 2 years. And yeah, I was pretty good after I went to work. And I had these intrusive thoughts, and it probably took me about a month and a half for me to actually rebound from this panic attack at night. And so it came to January. and I was feeling all right. But let me go back to October. Because of this experience, we actually started Mental Wealth, and we started because we wanted to help people get better, and we wanted to bring it on social media. And how this idea came was I was one day walking at this park, and I was all like, you know what? It would be an amazing idea to start this mental health page. And I didn't do it. And then I brought it. 2 weeks passed by, and I brought it up to my sister, and she was all like, you know what, Marco? I've been wanting to start a mental health page. We should do it together. And I remember this was where this idea came where I used to work at Sprint, and we started Mental Wealth. So let me go back to January. January, I was feeling all right. I had another relapse. I started having intrusive thoughts again, but it wasn't bad. Come February, I was all right. I wasn't too bad. March, okay, I had a little relapse. April, April. Mid-April, I was feeling sad. Let me say sad. Not depressed yet, but I was sad. I would cry sometimes, and I wouldn't tell anybody. And there was also a time where I was crying at work, and I just brushed it off. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the restroom, wipe off my tears, and nothing happened. And it's about late April, and I was all like, why can't I sleep? Why can't I sleep? Why am I not able to sleep? This has never happened to me before. And I was having depression. And late April, I couldn't sleep. And then May. If you've been a follower of us for a while on Mental Wealth on Instagram, you know that May was a very, very tough time for us. And it was May 1st, and I was out with my cousins. Um, and me and him were having a good time. Me and my two cousins were having a good time. We ate donuts. We ate the habit, and you know, it's May 2nd, and I ended up breaking up a relationship that lasted about 2.9 months because of what I was going through. I called her and I told her, you know what, this is happening. I'm having this rumination. So we kind of came to a mutual agreement that at the moment it wasn't best for me to have a girlfriend. So we ended it on May 2nd, May 1st actually, May 1st, and and we ended up the relationship, and it's May 4th, and it's at night, and I can't sleep. I cannot sleep. It's 2 days after I broke up with my girlfriend. I can't sleep. And the next day, I was supposed to go out with my two best friends to Frankincense. What Frankincense is like I would say it's a swap meet for anime. And I can't sleep that night. And it's 6 in the morning, and I call up my cousin. I call up my uncle, and I tell him, uncle, cause he has OCD too, and I call him and he's all like, um, this is gonna happen with OCD, with these intrusive thoughts. You're just not gonna be able to sleep. And he tells me, you know what, just go ahead and start your day already. I call him like at in the middle of the morning, and he's like, go ahead and start your day. So it's I just lay in bed, and it's about 6 in the morning, and I go for a drive, and I'm just driving around, and I see a friend of mine from elementary school, and he's a homeless man. He's a homeless. Yeah, he's a man, and he's on drugs, and he's just acting weird in the middle of the street, and I'm just all like, oh my god, what if that's me? What if I turn into that person, because I'm gonna become so overwhelmed by these intrusive thoughts and this anxiety and this OCD and this depression. What if I become him? And I start freaking out, and I go home, and it's like 7 in the morning, and I'm supposed to leave by 9. So I'm trying to get some sleep, but I can't. So it's time for me to go pick up my one of my best friends, Fernando C. Um, it's time for me to go pick him up because we're gonna go meet up Fernando, my other best friend, Fernando Q, so he could take us. And on the way there, I try to hide it. I try to hide it from my best friends. I don't. I think they kind of know what I was going through, but I try to hide it. I don't want. I want to just have a good day. And we got there. It's an hour in, and I tell my best friend Fernando Q. I'm like, dude, you know what? Please take me home. I don't feel good. I need to go to the hospital. I need to go to the ER. And I just need to go. And I text my mom. I'm like, mom, I need to go. I I I I can't be be like this anymore. I need some medication or something. And 2 weeks ago, from that time, I actually and I went to the urgent care. I didn't go to the ER, and I had a not a great experience there. And they're like, okay, well you want to see a psychiatrist? We'll get you a psychiatrist. 1.5 months later, so it's 2 weeks passes by, and I'm like, I still have another month to go to see a psychiatrist. No, I need medication now. I'm not me, and I try to do as much as I can personally, but I'm like, I can't right now. I need something external. And with that being said, you can't willpower depression. People say, oh, willpower, but you cannot willpower a mental illness. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Um, but going back, I was talking. I was texting my mom. I'm like, mom, I need to go to the ER. We need to speak to a psychiatrist. I'm not feeling myself. And I was texting her in Spanish. So I'm like, mamá, necesito ver un psiquiatra. Ahorita no me estoy sintiendo bien. Necesitamos decirles que necesito ver un psiquiatra porque necesito medicina. And then she texted me. She's like, okay, mijo, vente a la casa. It means, okay, son, come back home, and we'll go ahead and go to the ER. So on the way to my house, I was in my friend's car, and I started getting these intrusive thoughts like, dude, what if I just open the door and like throw myself out, and it'll all end. And I was like, nah, that's not me. That's not me. I don't want to do that. And my friend, you tell in his face, he was worried for me because he knew that's not who I was. And he we get to my house, and they both walk me. And Fernando Q, he gives me a hug, and he's all like, dude, take care of yourself. And Fernando C, he pats me on the back, and then he's all like, dude, take care of yourself. And so me and my mom, we go back home. I mean, we're at home, and we're waiting for my dad to get home, for so we could go to the ER. So we go to the ER, and then I tell her, I need to see a psychiatrist. I need to see somebody right now. I'm not feeling well. And she's all like, it's Saturday. There's not a lot of psychiatrists working, so we'll see what we could do for you. Are you having suicidal thoughts? And I'm just all like, I'm not comfortable. And then she's all like, the only way for you to come in and see a psychiatrist is if you're having suicidal thoughts. And I'm like, okay, I'm not comfortable sharing this, but yes, I'm having suicidal thoughts. And she's all like, okay, okay, that's ridiculous. You need to have suicidal thoughts just to see a psychiatrist. That's ridiculous. But I'm sitting in the waiting room 20 minutes. I can't stay still. And they finally call me in, and there's a security guard. He's pretty cool. He's all like, here, take this green suit. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I wasn't like, oh, cool, but I was like, oh, in my head I was like, oh, this is the same green suit from last time. And I put it on, and they put me in this little room, and they take all my blood pressure until they could get a bigger room, and they'll put me there. And so they take me, and I notice, why am I wearing a green suit and everybody's wearing a robe? Like, that doesn't make sense. But it finally hit me. I'm like, oh, I guess people who have mental health problems, they wear the green suit, and they have security guards following them all around. And I was all like, okay. And they put me in a room, and so the security guard is watching me, and they swap off security guards, and there's this girl, this girl who comes, and she's it's her turn to take care of me, and she's there, she's watching me. We do a little bit of about a little bit of chit chat, and she overhears me telling the security guard, or the nurse, that I work at a bank. And when the nurse leaves, she's all like, "What are you doing here? You know, you don't look like the normal patient or the mental health patient. And you say you work at a bank. I mean, what do you? Why are you here?" And then I'm just like, just because I look normal and I work at a bank doesn't mean I can't have mental health problems. And then she's like, "That's right, that's right." And we were talking about music after, and she brings up the worst story ever. You do not tell somebody with intrusive thoughts this is exact thing. So she's telling me about this story about this guy, and she's all like, what? We used to let the patients, lock the doors, and we used to have restrooms in here. I mean, we used to have mirrors in the restrooms, and then until this one guy, he locks himself in the restroom, and the security guard, he noticed that he's in there for a while, and then he knocks on him, and then he doesn't open. So the security guard, like, he uses his key to open, and the guy, he breaks the mirror, he starts cutting himself, and he starts cutting the security guard, but the security guard had a long sleeve, so he didn't do anything to him. And I'm like, did you really just tell me that? Oh my god, why did you tell me this? I was feeling better, and you tell me this story, and then the only thing that goes through my head is, what if that's me? What if there was a mirror in there? What if I would have locked the door and broke the mirror and started cutting myself and started cutting the security guards? And I started feeling like shit. And I started having like a mini panic attack. And I was like, I ended up calming down, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I just curled myself in my bed and I tried to sleep. And I did sleep for about 10 minutes until I wake up to my mom exiting the door, and I I I I just, I'm like, okay, maybe she's going to the restroom. She'll probably be back. And then I start remembering about that guy, and then the girl is no longer there. It's another security guard taking care of me, and I'm I'm like feeling bad, and my mom doesn't come back. It's 20 minutes, and I'm like, can you go look for my? I tell the security guard, can you go look for my mom? I'm not feeling too well. I want her to be here. And then he's all like, okay, I'll do that. And then he's still sitting, and 10 minutes pass by. I'm like, dude, can you really go look for my mom? I'm not feeling too well. And then he's all like, okay, I'll go look for your mom now. And then he goes off and looks for my mom, and another security guard comes, and he's taking care of me. And this guy doesn't come back after like 20 minutes, and I tell the guy, can you check on the other guy? Did he actually go look for my parents? And he was all like, okay. He calls up, and then he tells the guy, where are his parents here? And then he's all like, no, they're not here. And then the guy's all like, dude, they can't find your parents. And then I'm just all like, oh, where are they? And the worst thing could happen. Um, this guy, uh, across the hall, I guess another mental health patient, he starts screaming, and he's all like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here! I don't want to fucking be here! Get me out of here!" And some girl in the middle, another mental health patient, she starts crying hysterically, and I'm just all like, "Please, not right now. Where are my parents? I need you guys." And this guy's screaming, and this girl's crying, and I'm not feeling well, and like, guys, please look for my parents. And the security guard's like, we're trying to look for them. And then I'm just all like, okay, I need to relax. And I get up, and then the security guard that's watching me, he was sitting down, and then he like gets up, like like ready to fight me or something, thinking I was gonna have like a mental breakdown or ready to tackle me down or something. And I'm like, dude, chill. Like, I'm not gonna do anything. I just need to move right now. I need to move. I need to relax my mind. I need to distract myself because there's a freaking guy screaming, and there's a girl hysterically crying next to me, and I'm not feeling well right now, and I need to relax. I need to relax, and he's all like, okay, okay, and then I'm moving, and I finally see my parents, and my parents are like, they're like, what happened? Like, they tell me they came in, and they're telling me that you're not feeling well, and that they were looking for me, they were looking for us, and I was all like, no, I'm not feeling well, and then they hear the guy screaming, and then they're like, relax, Marco, relax. They could see the desperation in me, and they're like, relax, Marco, relax. And I'm just like, I'm just taking deep breaths, and I'm trying to relax. It's hell in there, and after I don't know how long, 6 hours, I see a psychiatrist. Not even a psychiatrist, just a therapist. We asked for a psychiatrist, they couldn't get us a psychiatrist, so they got us a therapist. And the same thing, she evaluated me, and I told her what I was going through. I told her what the security guard had told me, what had happened, and she's all like, yeah, she knows that intrusive thoughts could be a bad thing. They could not be a bad thing, but they could be overwhelming, and that her nephew had them too, and she knows how bad they could be. And I was just the like taking deep breaths, trying to relax, and she's all like, do you want to go to a psychiatric hospital, or do you want to get 5150? And I was all like, no, I just want to be around my parents. I just want medication right now. I want something that's gonna help me sleep and relax. And she's like, okay, okay, we'll go ahead and prescribe you something so you can sleep. And you know they let me go, and they prescribed me, and I see the bottom, like, oh, Xanax. Like, I never taken Xanax before, and I'm like, okay, I'll see how this makes me feel. And once I took it, it's crazy because leaving the hospital, I felt worse than how I went in because of what was happening and what had happened, and it was such a bad experience. It was probably one of the worst experiences in my life, and the worst feeling of anxiety, intrusive thoughts, OCD, depression. It was everything, everything. And I took the Xanax, and I started feeling better. And when I took it, I definitely, I definitely had faith in medication because of the way it made me feel. It made me feel relaxed. Actually, made me calm, and it made me feel more calm than I have felt in maybe a whole month. And me and my parents, we went to go get pizza. We went to the beach, and before I used to be so skeptical about medication, but I guess this hospital visit happened for a reason. At least they gave me Xanax, and it gave me faith in medication because before I used to be like, yeah, I need it, but I don't know if it's gonna work for me. Like, what if it doesn't work? But the way this medication made me feel, I finally had faith in medication. And the therapist was actually she actually got me an appointment with the psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist, it was 2 days after, and she actually put me on venlafaxine, or Effexor, also known as Effexor, and it's an antidepressant, and that's what I'm currently taking. And I'm so glad this I went through that, because through that experience at the emergency hospital, because I if I could get through that, I could get through anything. It was pretty bad experience. Although it's a bad experience, I'm grateful, and I just want to remind you guys, depression could be a bitch. It could be a bad thing. It could make you feel hopeless, and I was so hopeless for so long, and I feel like if I was left home alone, I would swallow the S pill, meaning I would commit suicide. And I just wanna I just wanna tell you guys, you could get through it. It's 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 gonna lie to you. Depression's gonna lie to you and tell you, this is gonna last forever. but it's not. And you know, if I could get through it, you can too. And you know, guys, I know mental a mental illness can be crazy. It can make you feel like you're going crazy. It can make you feel like, you know, there's no tomorrow. There, like everything's gonna fall apart. But if you have the right treatment, and you know you need to do what you need to do, you know you'll get through it. And like, once again, if I could get through it, you can too. So you know, guys, these were my hospital experiences and a little bit of my mental health story. So if you guys do like this, please give it a like and comment and subscribe to the channel. And for our Instagram followers, you know, who came to actually watch this video, thank you guys. We really do appreciate it. And if you know anybody who would benefit from this story, please share it with them. And yeah, guys, you know, catch us on the next video, on the next episode. It will probably be Vaughn speaking. And I had fun doing this. And yeah, guys, have a great night, okay?